What if I told you that the key to emotional balance, mental clarity, and maybe even your ability to handle stress is not just in your head, but it also is in the gut? As a pharmacist with 40 years of experience who's witnessed the profound connection between what we consume and how we feel, and I know that personally also, I'm about to share some science with you that's going to, I think, completely change how you think about your emotions. Hi, I'm Angela. And before I reveal why your digestive system might be running your emotional life or contributing to it, I want you to know that if you're struggling with mood swings, brain fog, or emotionally or overwhelmed, I'm offering currently a complimentary one-to-one discovery call or session call. And we're going to explore how your lifestyle choices might be affecting your emotional well-being. And we're going to design a holistic transformation plan together. No catches to this. It is very limited, however. And sometimes we are treating the symptoms when really we should be addressing the root cause. Your link to book a complimentary session is in the description below. And we're going to spend about 30 to 45 minutes together just examining your complete wellness picture and creating a clear path to some emotional freedom for you. But first, let me show you what I've been talking about. And I think that you're going to be fascinated by the science behind your gut and emotion connection. I mean, you've always heard about that gut feeling or that, feeling in the pit of your stomach. Well, too often we ignore it and we really shouldn't. For decades in my pharmacy practice, I've dispensed countless antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, sleep aids to really intelligent, accomplished women who just couldn't understand why they felt so emotionally unstable despite having very successful lives. But I know that often we treat our brains as if they operate in isolation, completely ignoring that there are 500 million neurons in your digestive system, or not even being aware that that's the case. And here's what I discovered, and it's changed so much. Your gut actually produces, you're going to be shocked at this, 90% of your body's serotonin, the same transmitter that antidepressants try to regulate. Is made mostly in the gut. So your intestines manufacture more mood-regulating chemicals than your brain does. That's mind-blowing, I think, to be honest. Yet we've been trained to think like our emotional wellness comes from managing our thoughts alone. That's a big component, but there's more to the story and there's more to the eye. So today I'm going to share some revolutionary science behind your second brain, which they call the gut. The gut is called the second brain. And some of the nutritional strategies that I've used, not just for my physical health, but my emotional resiliency after 60. And this isn't about another diet. It's about understanding how every meal you eat can either support or sabotage your emotional well-being. Now, let me share the 4 critical connections between your digestive health and your emotional state that most people, even healthcare professionals, don't understand. Connection number 1, the serotonin factory. Your gut bacteria literally manufactures neurotransmitters. So when your microbiome or your gut health is imbalanced, say from processed food, stress, medications, you're not just getting digestive issues. You're actually getting mood disorders also. Think about it. 90% of serotonin is made in your gut, not in your brain. Connection number 2, the inflammation-depression link. This is a big one. Chronic inflammation from poor gut health triggers the same pathways as depression. And when your intestinal lining is compromised, what we call leaky gut, inflammatory components or compounds can enter your bloodstream and create brain fog, anxiety, emotional instability. Your mood swings may actually be inflammatory responses. And also on connection number 3, the stress digestion cycle. So it's the other way around. Here's where my lion analogy becomes crucial. When you're in a chronic fight or flight mode, your body shuts down digestion to focus on survival. So you're thinking this lion is coming to get you, but it's your boss, your mother-in-law. And as I said, that shuts down the digestion so that you can focus on survival. But poor digestion creates nutritional deficiencies, which worsen stress response which further damages digestion. So it becomes a vicious cycle that really contributes to being emotionally dysregulated. And number 4, the sugar roller coaster effect. We all know that we think we know about sugar, but here's more information to know. Blood sugar spikes and crashes don't just affect your energy. They actually directly impact your emotional stability. When blood sugar drops, your brain perceives it as a threat, triggering cortisol release and creating anxiety, irritability, cravings. We call it that hangry. We all know about that. So if you think you're having a bad day you may think you're having a bad day when actually you're having a blood sugar day. So my own transformation began when I started paying attention to how different foods affect me, not just my body, but my emotional state. And after years of grabbing quick meals between pharmacy shifts, living on coffee and convenience food and highly processed food, I noticed a pattern. My worst emotional days coincided with my worst eating days. On top of the guilt and shame of eating things that I know I shouldn't be. And the breakthrough really came through when I eliminated those inflammatory foods or reduced them completely for a couple of weeks and added some gut healing nutrients. And within days, my mental health and my mental clarity improved. And within weeks, my emotional resiliency was stronger than it has been in years. I have added some of those back in. It was just a temporary, but I noticed even more what affected me. And so I left that out. And I wasn't just losing weight, I was gaining emotional freedom. This wasn't coincidence, it's biochemistry. And as I dove deeper into the research, I realized that 40 years in pharmaceutical practice, we were often treating just the downstream effects of really what was an upstream nutritional problem. And we were medicating symptoms that could be addressed at their source, but we weren't doing that. When our house fire happened about 6 months ago, and we were displaced for several months, dealing with the insurance, having financial stress, the contractors, dealing with that, my gut health practices really became an emotional anchor. Because if I hadn't had that, I felt like I would have had so many more problems. And I still had a lot of emotional issues going through that. But instead of falling apart under pressure, I had tools that helped me at a cellular level to maintain equilibrium. What I want you to understand is that your emotional well-being isn't separate. It's not separate from your physical health. They're all intimately connected through your gut-brain axis. And this has been talked about for a long time, becoming more and more mainstream. And that means you have more control than you realize. Here's a 5-step gut emotion reset protocol. And it's the same system I have used and now teach some of my coaching clients. Step 1, the inflammation elimination. Remove the 3 biggest gut destroyers for 14 days. Processed sugar, refined carbohydrates, and inflammatory oils. I'm not talking about a restrictive diet. What I'm talking about is just reducing the foods that literally can inflame your emotional circuitry. And it's just for 14 days, and you'll be amazed at the difference it can be. The microbiome rebuild. Add some fermented foods, sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, some high-quality probiotics. Your gut bacteria are your mood manufacturers. So if you feed them well, they're going to support your emotional balance naturally. And isn't that what we're all looking for, is more natural solutions? The blood sugar stabilizer. It's really, 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 really important to eat protein and healthy fats with every meal. And that helps to prevent the emotional roller coaster of blood sugar spikes and crashes. Protein, high quality protein and healthy fats. So when your blood sugar is stable, your emotions can follow suit also. Step 4 is the stress gut circuit breaker practice, a 3-minute belly breathing technique before meals. It's really important when you're calm, your digestive system can actually digest. So to try to not go into eating a meal stressed out, because when you're stressed out, even healthy food can't really nourish you properly or the same way that it can when you are in a calm, more relaxed state when you eat. And the nutrient prescription, add some specific gut healing nutrients, omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, zinc, and B vitamins. These are all really great nutrients. And they're not just supplements, they're actually raw materials that your gut needs to manufacture emotional stability. Since it manufactures that emotional neurotransmitters, that's emotional stability. And the beautiful part of all of this is you don't have to be perfect. Your gut microbiome begins shifting within 24 to 48 hours of any dietary change. So start with one step, build some momentum. You don't have to do everything perfectly out of the gate because that usually sets us up for failure. So if you do one step at a time, build some momentum, watch how your emotional world can transform as your internal world heals. When you understand the gut emotion connection, things can change and they can change quick. So stop thinking that you're broken or weak when you feel anxious or depressed. You realize you might just be inflamed, malnourished, or biochemically imbalanced. And those are problems that you can solve. And you'll discover that emotional wellness isn't about positive thinking all the time. It's just not positive thinking alone. It's also about creating the biochemical foundation that makes positive thinking possible. So it works in it together in connection with it. And you'll learn that self-care isn't selfish, it's actually scientific. Taking care of your gut health is about taking care of your mental health. And when you can take care of your mental health, you can not only take care of yourself, but you can also take care of others. And here's what I know after working with women in reclaiming their emotional freedom. The women who thrive aren't the ones with perfect diets. They're the ones who understand that every meal is an opportunity to support their emotional well-being. Every single meal or anything that they eat. And they make the connection between how they feed their body and how they feel in their body. Therefore, how they feel in their life. So remember, your emotional struggles aren't character flaws. They might just be biochemical imbalances that you have the power to address right here, right now, in this moment. And you have more control over your emotional well-being than you've been led to believe. You know, a lot of people will tell you it's this, it's that, you need this, you need that, but it can be so much simpler than that. And now that I've mentioned the complimentary Discover call earlier, I want you to know that this just isn't a consultation. It's a transformation session. And as I said earlier, no strings attached. We'll uncover what's really affecting your emotional well-being, and we'll design some kind of blueprint that's personalized to you to help with your gut emotion reset. And you'll leave with some clarity and a specific action plan to at least get started, because that's the important thing. Just get started. As Nike used to say, just do it. But that doesn't mean that it has to be perfect and whole and complete. It can at least be some kind of steps to start your momentum. So if this message resonated with your experience, hit that like button, subscribe for more evidence-based or science-based transformation content, and drop a comment telling me what's one gut emotion connection you've noticed in your own life, and what's one small step that you're going to take today to start that reboot. And I'll see you in the next video. Remember, it's not too late to feel amazing in your own body. Your transformation starts with your next meal.